Building collapses in Hunan, claiming 54 lives, officials orchestrated fraud to cause disaster. Top JPMorgan analyst, China's stock market will reach its end in 2024. Jiayin's right-hand man, Evergrande Auto President Yongzhuo arrested. Ongoing scandals rock PLA rocket force, scholars expose further details of military corruption. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Building collapses in Hunan, claiming 54 lives, officials orchestrated fraud to cause disaster. In a self-constructed building in Changsha, Hunan, a catastrophic collapse led to the loss of 54 lives. This tragedy unfolded despite the fact that different departments had made 6 separate attempts to inspect for illegal construction. On January 8, China's CCTV aired an anti-corruption documentary, unveiling the layers of deceit that contributed to this disaster in Hunan. Back in April 2022, an 8-story building in Wangcheng District, Changsha, self-constructed for residential use, crumbled to the ground in mere seconds over the lunch hour, resulting in the death of 54 individuals. This building, spanning 8 floors, consisted of a variety of uses. The ground floor housed retail space, the second floor a restaurant, the third a cafe with projection capabilities, floors 4 to 6 operated as a family hotel, and the top 2 floors were residential. During this collapse, many medical students dining inside from a nearby college were tragically buried under the debris. In response, their parents launched an online petition accusing the authorities of not only failing in their rescue efforts but also suppressing crucial information and their voices. The building, initially a 5, partially 6-story structure built in 2012 by Wu Qixing and his son Wu Zhiyong, was illegally expanded to 8, partially 9 stories by 2018. Standing at 26.3 meters, its construction bypassed official notifications and was carried out by unlicensed workers. Only the first floor had solid brick walls, while the upper floors, constructed with hollow walls, presented severe safety risks. According to Wu Zhiyong, these additional floors were added surreptitiously, halting whenever city inspectors appeared. He also highlighted that this issue was not unique to their building but prevalent in many other self-constructed buildings nearby. The documentary revealed that this disaster could have been prevented. Before the collapse, local authorities had initiated several operations to inspect and rectify such buildings. However, a failure to effectively communicate and take responsibility among these departments led to the loss of 54 lives. Since 2016, the Chinese government and Hunan's provincial authorities had launched 6 specific operations to inspect and rectify illegal constructions. Yet, Wangcheng District, newly transitioned from a county to a district, was overlooked in these initiatives. In 2018, Hunan Province embarked on a 3-year plan to address illegal constructions in county towns, but once again, Wangcheng District was excluded. Despite the responsibility lying with housing, city management, and planning departments, they neglected their duties. In 2021, during another major inspection, Wangcheng District failed to inspect a single illegal structure and even falsified its report, altering figures from 217 buildings to over 80,000, and later to more than 18,000, a stark inconsistency. Astoundingly, the company that falsely certified the ill-fated building as safe was recommended by a former deputy head of the local public security brigade, who in turn received significant bribes from the company. Furthermore, the one instance of an inspection involved the community paying a mere 120 yuan for a cursory check, leading to a hastily concluded and superficial inspection. This negligence culminated in the devastating collapse, claiming 54 lives. The public's outrage over this incident is palpable. Many people are frustrated at the sheer incompetence and irresponsibility of multiple departments, the missed opportunities for rectification, and the ultimate price paid in human lives. Not just 54 individuals, but 54 families shattered. This situation highlights a stark contrast. While ordinary citizens face a labyrinth of red tape and bureaucracy, often coupled with bribery, to construct their homes, this particular building was expanded significantly without any official intervention. This inconsistency points to more than mere negligence. It suggests a system riddled with corruption and backdoor dealings. Top JPMorgan analyst, China's stock market will reach its end in 2024. JPMorgan Chase, the big-time American investment bank, is out with their 2024 Outlook report, and they're saying that China's stock market is pretty much hitting a dead end. Michael Sembalist, the head honcho of market and investment strategy at JPMorgan, points out that the once impressive performance of the Chinese stock market, post its 2001 WTO entry, is now just a memory. Sembalist's take is that investors are waking up to the reality of China's lackluster stock performance. The Chinese market's price-to-earnings ratio is lagging behind the US, and often even Europe. To give you an idea, from the start of 2019 to the end of 2023, US big stocks shot up by 107%, European markets went up by 58%, but China's market dropped 17%. Even the 2022 deal between China and the US for financial audits didn't pep up investor spirits, and neither did China's reopening post-COVID. Sembalist's calling China the ultimate value trap now. Basically, most markets that hit this trap eventually fizzle out. Despite some folks saying the Chinese markets dropped enough to be a good buy, there's growing caution about this being a value trap. These are investments that look cheap and tempting but could just stay flat or even drop more. Beijing's economic boosters haven't really worked either. Sembalist says if you're hoping Beijing will stop backing its big national companies, don't hold your breath, especially after their latest moves that smacked down the gaming industry and spending perks, sending Tencent stocks down about 10% in late December 2023. In 2023, foreign investment in China was at its lowest since Bloomberg started keeping track in 2017, with just 44 billion yuan bought through the Shanghai-Hong Kong Stock Connect. Plus, overseas money has been bailing out of China's market for 5 straight months as of last December, the longest streak on record. The main reasons? Lack of solid policy support and a whole lot of uncertainty with regulations. Sembalist thought in 2023 we might see the end of China's stock market, and in 2024, he's even more sure of it. He points out that China's got a huge savings rate, around 40%, which could help the market bounce back, but right now, there's no spark to light that fire. In recent years, China's been backsliding. The value share of private companies has dropped from 55% in mid-2021 to 39% by mid-2023. Sembalist thinks China's real challenge is how it's handling real estate investment, not producing too much stuff. Homeownership's sky high, with 90% of families owning a home and 20% having more than one. The latest numbers show both producer and consumer prices dipping, the banking sector's weak, and China's net interest margin is just 1.75%, compared to 3.25% in the US. The U.S. House's Special Committee on China just dropped a hefty 53-page report with over 100 bipartisan suggestions. It's clear there's a growing push for tougher actions on China, like cranking up tariffs, putting tighter limits on Chinese imports, adding more restrictions to high-tech exports to China, and cutting off trade with more Chinese companies. Michael Sembalist pointed out that even though this committee can't make laws, this could be a hint of what's on the horizon, with Washington's Dems and Repubs finding common ground and taking on the Chinese Communist Party. He's also sounding the alarm for investors, saying now's a risky time. The MSCI jacked up China's share in its emerging market stock index to a record 40%. This means U.S. investors who follow this index might unwittingly buy into Chinese stocks right before they tank. There's also growing anxiety about getting the real scoop on China's economy. For the first time ever, foreign direct investment in China has hit negative numbers. With China's economy so tangled up in politics, it's a whole different ballgame for investors. Over there, the CCP's got a big say in what goes down economically and corporately. Jiayin, the big boss at JL Warren Capital, has been advising foreign investors for a good 10 years. She says diving into China's stock market without really getting the historical and external factors, the CCP's political play, and China's development trajectory is a risky move. Her advice: buyer beware, it's still a trap you can't escape. Jiayin's right-hand man, Evergrande Auto president Yongzhuo arrested. On January 8, the corporate world was rocked by news from Evergrande Auto. Their executive director, Yongzhuo, was detained on criminal charges, leading to a drastic 23% plunge in their stock price. Liu, a pivotal figure in the company and a close ally of Su Jiayin, Evergrande's head, has been a central player since 2003, holding various key positions, including leadership of their new energy and high-tech divisions. The financial struggles of Evergrande Auto have been apparent, with the company announcing a staggering cumulative loss of over 91 billion yuan, about $12.8 billion, from 2020 to 2022. The company ended 2022 insolvent, burdened by unpaid debts and overdue bills totaling nearly 30 billion yuan, about $4.2 billion. In a crucial turn of events, an investment deal with Hunan Group, seen as a lifeline for Evergrande Auto, fell through at the end of 2023. Hunan Group's planned investment of around $500 million, along with additional funding, was deemed essential for Evergrande Auto's survival but ultimately did not materialize. Compounding the company's woes, Evergrande's top brass, including Su Jiayin and his son Su Tinghu, were detained in September 2023 on suspicion of illegal activities, leading to a standstill in debt restructuring plans. Finally, in a recent development, Evergrande has managed to secure a delay in their liquidation hearing until January 29, 2024. This marks the seventh postponement in a series of legal challenges the company faces, reflecting the ongoing turmoil and uncertainty surrounding one of China's largest conglomerates. Ongoing scandals rock PLA rocket force. Scholars expose further details of military corruption. The CCP rocket force, handed a significant responsibility by Xi Jinping and in charge of nearly all of China's nuclear weapons, has recently been embroiled in a series of scandals. Many high-ranking officers have been dismissed, and now, U.S. media has shed light on more details regarding the rocket force's serious corruption issues. One notable revelation, as previously reported, is that the Chinese missiles are filled with water instead of fuel. Additionally, the missile silo covers are malfunctioning, preventing the missiles from being launched as scheduled. Bloomberg, reporting this information, highlighted that rampant corruption is the primary reason behind Xi Jinping's comprehensive purge of the military's upper ranks. Li Yuanhua, an Aussie-based scholar, laid it out pretty clear on January 7, corruption in the CCP. It's everywhere. Top brass, low-ranking guys, you name it, they're all grabbing whatever they can. Big military deals. Some folks are making a killing in kickbacks. And down at the bottom? They're pulling stunts like swapping missile fuel for water. Then there's the whole deal with grain reserves. The moment there's talk of an inspection, granaries start burning. Why? 'Cause they're empty. The CCP's got this whole charade going, inspect their gear, and it turns out to be junk. And used missiles filled with water, missile silo covers that won't budge, just classic signs of shoddy Chinese workmanship. Flashback over 20 years, and Li was training teachers at a sergeant school in Beijing's Yongzhuo area. During a meal with the principal and some mid-level guys, he got the lowdown on CCP military secrets. They bought this insanely expensive plane, like maybe 2.7 billion, but who knows? Things crashed on a test flight. The joke was these planes shouldn't fly in rain or at night, better to let them gather dust. Why risk a crash, right? He also mentioned buying French weapons but having no idea how to use them. Then there's the sergeant school. Students there weren't too psyched. Graduating from there means you're just a high-tech grunt, not an officer. Go to a military academy, though, and you're on the fast track to becoming a general. Meanwhile, the general staff's broke, but the general armaments department's rolling in it. And in the general political department? It's all about who you dine with. Pick the wrong table, and you're toast. And guess what? 20 years later, the corruption's even worse, so it's no surprise the military's in this mess. It's all about corruption everywhere, no respect for tech or the tech guys. In research places, if you're buddy-buddy with the bigwigs, you might get some cash, not because you're good at research. And if the research folks can't get funding, what are they supposed to do? It's just flat-out corruption. It's not just one guy, the whole system's rotten, and that's how these things happen. Li Yuanhua's got it straight. Xi Jinping knew there was corruption, but he had no idea it was this deep. prepping for war, but which one? He's caught on, and his shuffle of military leaders has everyone on edge. It's a corrupt bunch, top to bottom, everyone's in it for themselves. The army's morale is in the gutter, and everyone's pretty much disillusioned. From the top dogs wanting their share to the regular soldiers just trying to get ahead, it's all about the money. Why push hard in training when there's no real payoff? That's the mindset now. It's a money game, you pay to play, or nothing gets done, whether it's right or wrong. And last year on December 29th, the National People's Congress of the CCP kicked out 9 top generals, including 4 linked to the rocket force and at least 2 from the Equipment Development Department. Just a few days earlier, the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference also stripped 3 big shots from state-owned missile manufacturers of their posts. This all went down after they booted the former defense minister Li Shangfu in October. Might be the biggest crackdown on the military in China's recent history. Don't forget to leave a comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.